So we have another update to the Harry Dunn story. Basically, the family of Harry Dunn are to bring a private prosecution against Dominic Raab. So what they're alleging is that Dominic Raab misled Parliament in statements that he made about Anne Sekulas's return to the US. So a private prosecution brought by individuals rather than in the Crown Prosecution Service or another public body is highly unusual. The family argue that the actions of the Foreign Commonwealth Office (FCO) amount to misconduct in public office and perverting the course of justice. So this is quite interesting. Obviously she's wanted by Interpol internationally, something I've covered previously before. Something that countries don't have to act on. So if she goes to somewhere like Canada, they don't have to arrest her, but they can arrest her. And so it's about Harry Dunn, who died after an accident when he was on his motorcycle, which is something she's never disputed. So Dunn's parents have already applied for judicial review as a decision to grant Anne Sekulas immunity from prosecution. A deal was struck between the US and British governments in '95 that immunity would be waived for any RAF Crogden staff charged with a criminal offence. However, an oversight led to no mention being made of dependents, so no one thought that the husband or a wife of a diplomat would ever do something stupid. The US government has argued that under the Vienna Convention, Sekulas qualifies for diplomatic immunity. In its public statements, the British government have accepted this. So it's some pretty spineless stuff here from the British government. So on the 18th of June, the High Court in London will determine whether or not to order the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to disclose the rest of the documents relating to Anne Sekulas's departure, and then set a date for judicial review. So essentially, there's like a load of documents from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and we do have a text message from somebody in the office, and we'll get into that in a minute. But basically, they're trying to get as many documents as they can to prove that essentially Raab has lied to Parliament, or he's incompetent. And I don't know at this point which one it is, because lying seems to be second nature to him, Matt Hancock and Boris. But also incompetency is first nature to these guys, so who knows. So Raab claims the Foreign and Commonwealth Office did not know Anne Sekulas had left the country until it was informed by the US Embassy a day later, on the 16th of September. In a statement on the 21st of October, he said, on 13th of September, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office was informed by the US Embassy that they would not waive immunity and that the individual would be leaving the country immediately unless the UK had strong objections. We duly and immediately objected in clear and strong terms and have done so ever since. So since the 13th of September, Raab is arguing that they objected to the removal of Anne Sekulas. So why they couldn't go to where she lived unless she lived on the Air Force base? They could have went to go. They could have even taken down. They could even stop the plane. Essentially, as soon as the plane leaves RAF Crofton, that's it. It's in UK airspace. They could have done this if they wanted to push this issue. But I don't think the Common Office wanted to. I don't think they thought this story would blow up as much as it's done. So, following the disclosure of the Foreign Commonwealth Office documents connected to the judicial review, the family discovered a text from senior diplomat Neil Holland. So I don't know how they got this text message. So then serving as the FCO's director of protocol to the US Embassy counterpart, stating, so this is a text message. This was on the 14th of September. I think that now the decision has been made not to waive immunity. There's not much mileage in us asking you to keep the family here. It's obviously not us approving their departure, but I think you should be able to put them on the next flight out. The text was dated on the 14th of September. A day before Sekulas left. Dunn's parents argue that this text message directly contradicts Raab's account of Parliament of clear and strong FC opposition to her immunity. And so if we go back up, so Raab claims the FCO did not know Sekulas would leave the country and was not informed by the US Embassy later. We duly and immediately objected in clear and strong terms and have done so since. So you should have had a word with your boy Neil Holland, because Neil Holland didn't do that. He did not object. He just said, yeah, we would advise that, immunity is not going to be waived here. You can send her on the next plane out. So who's lying here? Is it Neil Holland who did he undermine Raab directly and say, nah, don't worry about it, get out of here? Or is Raab lying? I'll leave that one up to you. Until all the documents are out, we won't know yet. But I won't be surprised if Raab thought, yeah, this story's going nowhere, don't worry about it, just get out of here. So we have worked so. Here we go. So Charlotte Charles, the mother of Harry Dunn, told the Guardian the family were distraught when they read this. How could Dominic Raab have told Parliament that he and the Foreign Office objected in clear and strong terms when the FCO told the embassy it was fine and dandy to put them on the next plane? He misled Parliament and lied to us. Misleading Parliament's a big thing, and he would have to apologise if the FCO documents prove otherwise. He must resign or be sacked by Boris. Boris, do the ting blood. If you care about British people, you would sack him because he let the person who killed a British person leave. If you've got a spine, that is. He is lying over what he knew about the death of our boy to cover his back, and that's too upsetting to put into words. And she's absolutely right, because Raab would have known about this as the foreign minister, and so Raab's team essentially let her go. As we have worked so hard to avoid any dispute, gave him every chance to do the right thing. Raab must now face the consequences through the criminal courts. We didn't want any of this. It's our last resort. But unlawful actions followed by a cover-up must have consequences. Because the two situations of this, Raab told the US Embassy, you're not going anywhere. And he was undermined within his team to let her go. And he did nothing about it afterwards. He didn't sack anyone. Or Raab knew, didn't think the story blew up, and was like, oh no, the story's blown up, I told Parliament straight away, I object to this. And he could do fake resistance where he's like, oh, I object to this thing, but behind the scenes it's like, yeah, don't worry about it, it's fine. Tim Dunn, Harry's father, told The Guardian, I've never trusted Dominic Raab from the moment I first met him, not a surprise. On the 9th of October, he told us in the meeting that he had asked for immunity to be waived on the 5th of September. Now the FCO is telling the nation that he didn't know about Harry then. Both versions can't be true. So Raab lying to the parents of whose child died, and didn't stop the person who committed the action. So in a wide-ranging interview with The Guardian's Weekend magazine to be published on Saturday, the family said they lost faith in the government. Niall Dunn, however you pronounce that, Harry's twin brother, wrote to Johnson saying, please get involved in our case. Anyone can see the Foreign Office has made a mess of this. He has yet to receive a response. Honestly, getting Boris involved in this might make it worse. Rad Seeger, advisor to the family, said the UK government unilaterally allowed Anne Sekulas to leave the country when they had no power or authority to do so. Not only did they let her go, they kept the very organisation whose job it is to establish whether her claim to diplomatic immunity was valid, Northamptonshire Police. So it's up to the police to decide who has immunity and who doesn't, not the FCO, according to this, which I find strange. They didn't let them know she had gone until the day after she left. So it's not the fault of Northamptonshire Police, it's the fault of the Foreign Office. Harry Dunn's parents are now clear that these actions constitute misconduct in public office. The FCO told Northampton, I think there's a typo there, police on September 2nd that Anne Sekulas had diplomatic immunity, presenting that as a fact, effectively bringing the investigation to a halt. That would appear to be interfering in a lawful investigation by police force or perverting the course of justice. These crimes, if proven, are amongst the most serious on our country's statute book. Look, I don't know, like, if the documents come out and they show the Foreign Office essentially lied to the country about what if Anne Sekulas had diplomatic immunity, and if they lied about them saying, we told her to stay and this and that, then I'd be very concerned. Not to mention the fact that Northamptonshire has a lot of Conservative MPs, and I'd be amazed if they didn't face any flack for this. Genuine would be. And an FCO spokesman said, we have the deepest sympathy for Harry's family. No family should have experienced what they've gone through, but you could have made it a lot easier. Mr. Spokesman. The case remains a high priority for the Foreign Secretary. No, it doesn't. Raab doesn't care. He's too busy playing pretend Prime Minister, who continues to raise it with the US government. He's not, though, is he? His team failed. He failed. Both the Foreign Secretary and the Prime Minister have been clear with the US that the refusal to extradite Anne Sekulas amounts to a denial of justice, and she should return to the UK. This is a country that we want to do a trade deal with soon as well. They don't care. The Foreign Office remains ready to meet Harry's family and to support them to get the justice they deserve. The FCO says it's confident that he's acted properly and lawfully to the death of Harry Dunn. Does this seem like they acted? Does this seem like they acted lawfully and justly? It was fine and put him out on the next plane. He just look, I'm going to read that text again. I think that now the decision has not been taken to waive immunity. There's not much mileage in us asking you to keep the family here. It's obviously not us approving of their departure, but I think you should feel able to put them on the next flight out. Yeah, you did everything you could, big man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and any updates to the story, I'll let you guys know as best I can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.